This is a massive coach. This is like a 45 footer. So all the way down from Ontario. So we've got some other issues here, right on this side, right in here. I have some delam. So we're going to see how we address that. And we also have, I don't know if I can see that in there. Trying to show you up in there. But the ceiling is rotted. I'm going to have to get a better view. But the concern that I have, if you look, let's see if you can see that. There's a seam that runs all the way down. Doesn't go side to side like all the other coaches. So we're going to try and see what kind of repairs we can do without destroying that whole ceiling. Because it's not the whole thing, it's just on the other side of this, it's in the back, but obviously no light. I'll get all that. I'll show you some of that. I just wanted to show you the roof. Well, let's go over there and take a look and see what we got. Can you see that right off the rip? Look at the dip. You can see this panel here aims down. That one. You can, that's pretty obvious. So we got some issues there. Someone mucked all this stuff up on here. We'll figure all that nonsense out when we start tearing it apart. But I mean, it clearly just, so look at that. We got, you know, your typical put more on type of scenario right here. All right. So you can tell that somebody's already tried to apply it. You got one here, got a different color there, different colors, still some more cracking. So, you know, I don't know what's going on here. Got a kind of like a dip right there, and got some wires just hanging up here on a satellite. So we got to rip this whole thing apart. And that leak was right in here somewhere. I think it was right on this base. So, but this thing is all wonky. Even the, you can see right in that area right there where the light's hitting it. It's got a bubble right in here. So this is all puckered up. This whole thing is kind of wavy. It's wavy this way and then wavy that way. And you get another little, so we get this little dip right here that I was talking about, and I see another one right behind that plumbing. You can see that's not straight either. We'll see what happens when we take it all apart. That's all we can do. But this is a beast. This is a Spartan. That's what it's called, a Spartan, I guess. I guess it's by Newmar. But they all seem to be the same to me. So, I mean, it's a nice coach. It's really big. That's for sure. But, all right, well, let's get to it. We'll take some of this stuff apart. I'm going to show you the inside afterwards as well, and we'll have to address the deal. All right. So, I had to dig all of these out because all that caulking was on. Look at all the caulking that's in them. You can't get the bit in there. So you got to clean out the head so you can take them out. You see all this caulking on here. Then, look how rusty these screws are. They're all like that. If they're not all rusty like that, then they're broke. So, and I got a big old wad of caulking right here, and it comes out to here. So you got to get that off. I don't know what's underneath it. But then it fans out here. Look at this big wad of booger right here. Right there. So all of this, what you're seeing right here, that's sediment from like dirt, dust, pollen that's collected up that can't wash off the roof. That's how much water this thing holds because of this rail. I don't like these rails. So typically what happens is, you know, this is stopping and impeding the water from rolling off the coach. So, you know, you can see right there as well. All those that you're seeing right here. All of that, that's all that sediment, even over there. So all of it is what's holding water. That's holding water. And then this was the big dent that I was showing you right here. You can fit your finger underneath there. It's got a good dent on it. So you can see it that way, I guess. I don't flip it either way, it doesn't really matter. But I mean, you can get your finger up underneath there. So and there's another one right across. You can see where all that's ponding over there. It looks like something caused that to sink in right here. And then I was trying to show you over here too. See where that plumbing pipe is? You can see all that sediment around there. You can see where it starts to come over and it starts to dip right there, and then it comes back up right here. It trails down and comes back up. So we got another one there. And again, I don't know what's causing it, so it may just be rot. But like you said, all these screws are all rusted, so it's going to take a while just to get these screws out. So it's going to take a bit. Alrighty. Alright, so now see how thick this is? This is a Spartan. I've never worked on a Spartan before, so, but I doubt this is going to be the norm. See how built up it is? It doesn't look good to me, but it looks like somebody just went right over this deck with another piece. That's what it looks like. This isn't normal for coaches to be built up quite like that, you know. So you can see how I'm ripping all this stuff up. There's nothing I can do about it. Just have to clean it up. He's going to have this whole coach decal from what I understand. So, but let me tear some more of this up. That's all rotted, and that may be what's causing some of the puckering, because you can see right here this plywood is kind of loose right here. Yeah, that's kind of loose. So I don't know if that's tight down there and this is all loose. We'll figure it out. All right, so we had to take the door off. This is the D-lam. All the D-lam, it just peeled right up. You can see it's all. So if you ever wondered what it was inside one of these big old Spartan, I think there's a Spartan, Newmar Spartan or something, or whatever. But you can see the way they got it all framed. But that's a hot mess. That goes all the way back there, which is, I don't know, it's got to be close to 6-7 feet, maybe 8 feet. So we're gonna have to take it off, and then we're gonna have to see what's going on up underneath there. But we're gonna have to cut it. There's no way we can do this work. We gotta cut it. We're gonna cut it all the way up, do all the work, put it back together. All right, get the chainsaw.
I would say there is a bit of D-lam right here. That's how I would say it now. A bit of D-lam.
Wow. Got a little bit of work cut out for us. So this is where the satellite was. You can see how, I mean, that's mulch. This mulch. I'm looking at all this. It's all packed. So I'm sure we got to take this insulation out right here. It's dry, but you can tell it's been wet. It doesn't have any water value to it now. There's some more over there. What was that? Plumbing, I think. Check over there. So I mean, can you imagine spraying over this? I don't worry about it, just spray over it. There's all this trash underneath here. I'd buy one of those sprays if I really thought it would work, but you don't know what's underneath these things. You gotta open them up. Oh, it was there. Not a plumbing. There's a plumbing there, and there's a plumbing there. Oh, this, obviously that turn bar failed and just wicked everything in. That's looking like. You know that they put the second layer on there. This is the second one we're trying to pull up. But there's no glue. They didn't glue anything. There's no evidence of any glue at all that was on here. All they did was just stitch it down the side. That's all they did. Just stitched it down the side. So this is the original, and you got screws there, a couple more up there. These are screwed in. A couple of screws there, and that's what we're trying to do, see what we're in for. So we're trying to work it loose. Do this exploratory type of work. So all this is the passenger side of the coach. So this is the original that we're pulling up. Got some screws. That's what we're working loose all through there. I reached in here and grabbed this. I don't know if I can get water out of it, but it is wet. You can see how it is. It's wet though. It wouldn't clump up like that if it wasn't. So. Yeah, that is soaked in there. It's even wetter in here. See how it kind of sticks together when you do that? Insulation would puff back out if it wasn't wet. But yeah, it's soakified. Alright, so we've got some of the decking up. A lot of this is wet, but I'm going to throw all of this away. We're trashing it. And one of the reasons why I'm trashing it, and right over there, that is
Mouse shit. That's what it is. Then you can see these little galleys right here. See that? Can you see this one? That says there was a mouse in here or something. Here's another one. So we've opened some of these up. This is soaked anyways. This part is, but even the stuff that's dry, I'm not going to keep it. If there's mouse shit and piss in there, you don't want that. So we're going to disinfect it. And then once we disinfect it all, we'll spray it down with mold kill as well. And then we'll get it cleaned up. But I don't want to put anything in here that may have any, you know, mouse feces, caca. This one is absolutely soaked. This one is. So that's what we're working on. So that's why we're going to get rid of it all. It's all gone. So then you can kind of skin. I don't know if you can see it on here. So I got where the bar is. 1, 2, 3. It's right there. This thing does one of these, drops that truss right here. Looks like it's failing. I don't know why yet, but we'll check it out. This one. So we'll check all that out. See what's up with that, why it's causing it to kind of walk down. Right, so we got this straight edge right here of aluminum. Got a 20-foot stick up here. And trying to get my tape measure out. You can see up underneath there, it's quite a bit. I'm trying to give you an idea how much it is, because it's hitting down there and there. Now I got a gap, then that gap's a little bigger than that one. This one's a little bigger than that one. I'm trying to get an idea. What does that say? I got about, looks almost like 3/4, maybe 11/16 or something. Well, that's a pretty good gap though. And then let me fix this. Yeah, that's what you got. And then it comes back over here. See, that one's touching. That one's touching. And then it starts failing again right here. And I got another dip. So we're going to see. I've ran into situations where when they weld those struts, when they weld those, they're not perfect. And you end up with that. So we're going to check that to see if that is the problem. Because these are aluminum. They shouldn't be going anywhere. They don't look kinked or bent. So they shouldn't really sag like the wood ones probably would if they got wet. These should still stay straight. So that's what we're going to check, see if that's the case. We do a little bit of investigation and see if we can straighten them out. I just don't like that roller coaster of this thing kind of doing this. Let's do some research and find out what's causing the problem. Okay, so we took the ceiling apart. Now this ceiling is different than all the other ones, and we got some rot. I'll probably need to go get a flashlight. All right, go get a light. So check out the way the ceiling is. See, you just have one center seam all the way down. On most RVs, you're going to have a strip that goes across every 4 foot. You're going to have all that, but this one you don't. It's also got these drop-down trays. See? So obviously you can see where our damage is right here, right? And what I'm doing is I'm going to work it from the roof down, because if I don't do it that way, I would have to breach this ceiling fabric. Look how far back it goes. I mean, it's a whole coach like that. I'd have to put a patch somewhere. Is the patch going to look like a hot mess? Maybe. Is it going to, if I got it looking well, is it going to match this? Probably not. So instead of trying to challenge all that, I decided to just do it from the top side. You can see all the rot that I got up in here. And we're going to pull all of this out here in a minute. I'm going to go, I'll take you up the stairs and I'll show you what we're doing. And then I can rebuild it. I can rebuild up there much, even if it doesn't come out looking as pretty as we want. It won't matter as long as it's structurally sound. But down here, well, this is a nice coach. I mean, it needs a lot of work for sure. But I mean, it's got some nice, awesome flooring. It's tile flooring, I believe. And oh, this is, what do they call this thing? A Spartan. But this is a really, really nice coach. So I'm sure it was high end. This is all wood cabinets, like real wood, not MDF, not that cheap stuff. This is really nice. This thing is heavy. So anyhow, I mean, he knows he's got his work cut out for him to restore it, but Anyhow, that's why he brought it to us. So we're going to get that done. Let me get you up front on top there, and I'll show you what we did. All right, so now you can see we got all the trusses up. I'll come back a little bit. You can see we got all these trusses loosened up. Took out our duct line, and then we're going to get this all fixed up. So now we can loosen it all up here. We already did most of this. This is the fabric right there that I was showing you there. Although when you looked on the inside, you probably saw that little bit of plywood that was rotted because we haven't got underneath there yet, and we're going to. But this is the fabric right here. This is the foam that's on top of the fabric. This little bit it's dry. There's nothing wrong with it. We're going to just spray it down with some mold kill. If it's stuck, it's stuck. And then I'm going to re-laminate it back to a clean sheet of plywood like they got on here. And then at least we can do all our work up here. And then we can just reassemble all these trusses, put them all back together. It'd be a little bit of work, but in the long run, it's going to be better because we won't have to be breaching on the inside. So we may have to get on the other side. I'm looking over there, and I want to see how bad that is. If it's just water stained and it looks a little ugly, as long as it doesn't have mold, it's just water stained, I'm not going to poke that bear. Sometimes you can just make yourself more work than what you really needed to do. So we're just going to take this a little bite at a time and see how it all works out, and we're only going over wherever we need to. Stop there, go over there where we need to, go over there where we need to, same thing. So that's what that's the goal. So we were able to move all of these wires, we just kind of pulled them out of the way, so we didn't really have to cut anything, which is awesome. I don't really like doing that, but we just got to kind of out of the way, and we'll move them this way, we'll move them that way, whatever we got to do. We try to be as less intrusive as we can without making more work for ourselves. All right, here's our hot mess. Here's the hot mess of the day. Check us out. So we got all that sheathing off, and boy, that took some time. Just layer by layer by layer. So then we come over to here. That piece is good, but then it crooked up that way. All that's good. So we just got this. This is the other ply that's still stuck to it. It's fine. Like it's not. And this is just some discoloration from, obviously, from the wood, right? It's technically, if you want to call it, it's called tannin. That's what gives it that color. And then this piece that you're looking at, this actually rolls up, and that's what gives that seam all the way down the coach, like I was showing you on the inside. So then there was another piece right here, and you can see that lower part, man, that's just really not worth trying to dig out. There's another piece that sits on there. We're going to wrap it around. We're going to mold kill all this and get it all dried out and make sure it's okay, that's not rotted like structurally, so it won't be a problem. Color-wise and aesthetics, it's all going to get wrapped. I don't care, but I don't want to keep going and going and going and going and find out, you know, we're tearing the whole thing apart unnecessarily for something, because the rest of that's all dry. Everything's all dry. It's just this little bit that's wet, and then that little crumb come off. Like I said, I got to get another piece on there, so I'm going to get that flaky stuff off, and I'm going to glue everything all back together, pull it all around. So then we were working over here. This is still damp a little bit. This was damp all the way over to there. So we go all the way down here, right in here. So we're going to mold kill all this, and then after we mold kill it, we're going to, and I'm going to put a good dosing on it. Then tomorrow or so, we're going to end up, we'll get blowers on here and get it all dried out. And then, you know, obviously there are all the trusses, and I'll put all the trusses back, and we'll get them all structurally sound and everything else. But gee whiz, this has been a job for sure. There's been this little bit here. I think we probably got a couple of days worth of work just into this. What you see, yeah, you wouldn't think it, but there's a lot to it to take all these little pieces apart without trying to, you know, get into all the wiring and everything. I don't like doing all that. You can see all the wires hanging here. So we just moved them out of our way. So some of these trusses, I cut the trusses instead, so I could get the wires, so I don't have to cut wires. I'd rather do that. Those trusses need to be repaired anyways, so it's easier for me to fix the truss than it is to start wiring everything. You know, I don't like messing with that stuff if I don't have to. All right, enough said. Let's clean it up. We'll get a vacuum on here, soak her down, and we'll be on for another adventure. This is what we're using, mold control. You can get this at Home Depot, and I just put it in a spray bottle. Then I'm going to soak this down, give it a decent soaking down. I want it all nice and kind of misty. I don't want it to soak all the way through to make it too wet, but I want it to have pretty damp. And then that stuff over there, way over on the other side. I already sprayed it. We sprayed this thing already like 3 times. You know, we don't work on it until we kill it. This will kill the mold, like literally kill it. It's supposed to suffocate the mold from what it says on the jug, the science, but I don't have a microscope to prove it. But that's what it's supposed to do. And so we soak it down so we don't get any of that stuff breathing in or whatever. It absolutely kills it. And then, like I said, I'm just putting a good mist on it. So we do it several times. I just want to do it one more time because now we took up some stuff, right? And I want to make sure that what we took up, there wasn't stuff underneath it that's bad. So I'm going to soak it down. And then, like I said, we'll peel that other stuff up. And then we'll let it dry out. And then once it dries, this, I know this soaks in, then I'll hit it with some blowers. And I'll get this thing nice and dry. And we'll start getting this roof rebuilt. All right, so we have got, there's a new sheet going down. This is we filleted all the other sheathing off. And we got a new piece glued on here, and now we got a new one going in over here. We got it all zigzag, jiggity jagged out. Look like a puzzle. And then we're going to clad over it again, and I'm going to pull everything all together. So we'll get this nice and tight. Then obviously we got to put all the trusses back, and then some of these trusses we had to cut them to come out, but I'll put some more bracing in it. That's not a big deal, but some of them were loose up on these. Yeah, I can roll one over. Way up on the inside. This piece looked loose, so we're going to double check everything and make sure it's all set. Then I'm going to, if we had to cut them, I've got new aluminum that I'm going to use to pull them all back together. So I'll show you all that when we get to it. But we got this glued down so far, and like I said, that's what we're working on. All right, we finally got the other piece in, and now we're trying to get our trusses all back together. So some of them we had to cut to get wires in, and we're going to repair those, and then we'll get all this cinched up. That's where it is so far. Now I'll show you the inside after. It's come out looking great. And this might have been a long process, but if we didn't do it this way, it would have been a horrific mess and a lot more repairs, patches, slices, cuts, and everything else in the ceiling. I just didn't want to do all that. Nor did I want to do 45 feet of ceiling either. I'm sure the customer didn't want to do it either. So it may have taken us a little longer, but it's going to look all right. Let's take a look at our ceiling. Looky there. That looks pretty well. We got to get that tray that's right there. There's another one that goes over here. But that come out pretty good. Considering we'd have to tear the rest of that ceiling out. I think it looks really, really well. Alright, so that's that. Then the other issue that I come across, I don't know why they don't do these. I showed these on the roofs before, but these are pretty sharp on the inside. See how it's scoring it right there? So now, eventually this thing, if it keeps going, it may end up compromising that wire. This one, let's sell one on this yellow. Yeah, we'll zoom in on that. It's like right here. Hopefully it'll focus in better. There's one there. There's one in that black one right there. These ones are kind of faint, but we're going to fix that. We're going to put a bushing in there. You know, this is what I'm saying. When you get these things, this is a high-end coach. This is an 01. So back in its day, this thing was probably over $500,000. 500 grand. And you're not going to protect these wires? Really? That's a penny. I'm not joking. That's a penny. You're not going to put one more penny into this thing? And these are supposed to be the best and everything else. And I'll show you. I know up there in that window frame is loose. Haven't checked all these yet, but what we're going to do is, obviously we're trying to get the wall back together now. We got to get the wall back together, then get the rest of the roof together because we got other pieces that go in. And this is why, so the last clip showed the roof, now we're down here, so we got to kind of work it back up. But we're going to check these here and make sure they're all set. But we're going to fill all these with rigid foam. And all they did, see, they glued it on here. You can see that glue right there. That's a good amount of glue. And it's like a urethane. That's what that is. It's almost like windshield adhesive. It's really thick. And that's how they put this on. So we're going to put foam in here instead of the batten insulation. And then we got to get another piece behind here so the two of these pieces marry together so they're not kind of one sitting in different, and you can notice the seam. We're trying to get that as best we can. And we're going to, like I said, put rigid foam in here.
Gotta bring this camera back a little bit. But I need to get a manicure. Look at my cuticles. That's terrible. Okay, I digress. We're gonna get the foam in there, and we're gonna sheath it, and then we're probably gonna put a couple layers of sheathing on here. But I gotta fix that right there. And see how this one has a little bushing there? That's what you need over in that pipe, and we're gonna go get them. These are just these bushings. This is actually electrical code for commercial resident. Anything else but a camper. Campers don't have to follow codes, I guess. Don't matter. But it just goes inside there. If I can do it left-handed, there we go. But that's it. That's the fix. Easy peasy. And those are a penny. So those ones go down in there. I don't know if that's a metal ferrule behind there or just behind that wood. No, it just goes behind there. Yeah, there's nothing there. But I don't like it. I'm gonna put something in there to protect that, so it doesn't, so that metal doesn't rub up against this. I'm gonna do that. So I got a piece of roofing in there, and I pulled it back here, so this way it can't fall out. And then by the time we put the wall, it can't fall in anymore. So that'll protect those wires. But you see that sharp edge on that thing? Yeah. I don't want those compromising the wires. You know, you rebuild something. So if we don't address that, and then he goes back to Canada and goes flips a switch and nothing works, what do you think the first thing he's going to say? Hey, you put a fastener through something, and it's not. It's these right here. This is pretty common, and they usually when they run them all the way up through the wall. Up there, those have some bushings up there where they go up, and we'll double check them as well. But I believe they do. If they don't, we'll be putting them in. But even on a travel trailer, especially a travel trailer, they do that. They run it up the wall, and then they'll run them through ferrules like this, and they don't protect them, and then they go out and compromise. I've shown that numerous times on other videos. You can go watch some of them, and you'll see what I'm talking about when we do all these tear outs. Just as a prudent measure, we're going to spray some mold kill. I think I missed it. Yes, there's a prudent measure. Get it on there. Alright, so now what we're doing is gluing. This is rigid foam. We got to glue all that on there. Then what we're going to do is glue all the joints together. So it's getting all glued together. Everything's going to be tight, tight, tight. Snug as a bug. Then this is all we can do is kind of get around these wires that way. That's kind of a big mess. We'll do the best we can to fill it in with some other stuff. All right, so we've got everything all put back in there. We had to use the batten over there, the batten over there. Now, we are trying to stay on the same plane. Keep in mind, this was a $500,000 coach or so in his day. Why do I have a big gap right here? See it? And then it tightens up right there. Things that make you go, So that may be one of those, it is what it is. I actually think right here on this one, it's doing the same thing and wrapping in right here. That's what it looks like. We may check that. Bring that over here and let's check it. Right there. Whoop. Yeah, somewhere in here. Yep, same thing. That's right. That's why I got the nickname Old Eagle Eye. That's right. It's doing the same thing though. You can see the gap right there. So we call that there a manufactured defect. So all we can do is all we can do. We'll try and get it looking as best as we can. All right, we got the siding all glued on. So now we're going to epoxy this joint and then this other one down here. We got to put the cap on. Still got a little bit to do. So, but at least she's stuckified, and it come out looking pretty good. It's actually pretty flat. I mean, this wasn't good. It had some issues, anyways. You can tell the siding in itself has some like cracks, and it's not really cracks. It's just I think there's something underneath that. Maybe it's another finish or something that just don't look well. But it is what it is. So anyhow, we didn't do down there, and you can see at least it blends back in the way it's supposed to. But he's going to have this whole thing wrapped, from what I understand. All right, onward and upward. All right, so we have got everything done. It is done. We didn't work on this, we just dried it all out. And then what we're going to do is see if we get these panels to come up a little bit, if that's possible. And then see if we can take some of the shake out of it. So we're going to do that. Well, we already rebuilt everything down here. Then this is the insulation. We're going to put this, I like using this blown in. I can get up underneath the ductwork. I can get all inside here. You can get inside this pocket on the shoulder. You get the insulation everywhere. It covers everything. You just got to, and I can pack it up higher. So compared to what they did have, there's a piece of it in here actually. That's all they had. So you can see it's not very much. So I think it was up a little higher than that, but it didn't come all the way up. Then we're going to glue down, after we get this done, we're going to glue down the new decking. But these are all the repairs we already made. So we're already done. We got a strip going down there, and that just keeps everything aligned and balanced. So these trusses don't want to kind of walk or twist. And that's where we're at so far. Then we'll get the shoulder on. We got to get all this done, then we can get the shoulder back on. So we got, obviously I showed you the siding here. So we started doing some of the body work there. He's going to have this wrapped, so we're just going to clean up. We're going to put decal on it. Then we'll have to do the same thing here when we put the rest of this shoulder on. We'll have to do that. But all this, I mean, this, if you have, if you know, having the intent to put vinyl on this vinyl wrap, you're going to see all of this. There's no way I can get all of that off. And there's some other areas along the whole coach that, you know, should be sanded down before you actually just start putting vinyl wrap on there. So we're going to terminate the roof on the top. You'll never see it. You'll never see it from anywhere unless you're above the coach. But we're going to terminate it on the top. We're not going to bring it over. It's got a nice shoulder, and he can bring that wrap up and jazz it out however he likes. So, all right. So that's where we are so far. We'll get the insulation in. And like I said, we'll be able to get everything else going. You can see we foamed everything. This is all the foam adhesive that I use, and it glues everything all back together. So we did all that. Everything's all glued, secured down. All the trusses are all glued down. You can see some underneath there a little bit. So yeah, everything all glued and secured in. So everything is, it's tight. It looks good. Then I'll show you the inside. It's just hard to get in there, and I got to get a light, but I'll show it to you before, you know, obviously the video's over. Be patient. Be patient. All right, let's get some insulation in here and get this thing decked. I'm going to put 1/2-inch BC grade plywood on this. That's what I'm going to do. Somebody had put, I showed that earlier in the clip, but somebody put a roof on top of this whole roof. So that's why it was all built up like that. Alrighty, onward and upward. So we get all the insulation in, and now we're starting to get some decking on here. We're going to glue it all down. Well, you can see all this glue right here. Glued it all down, and then obviously screwed it down, and we're ready to go. So that's what we're doing. But that's what I like about this blown in. You can get everything right, like up underneath the trusses and everything. And it's a good product, a fireproof product. And like I said, it gets in there. You can really fill in every little nook and cranny, like a muffin. You can fill it in like a, you know, English muffin, all the nooks and crannies. We are applying a generous bead of caulking adhesive to hold down the roof deck, as should be, per RVRI specs. Even glue in there along that rail. We'll get some in this rail over here. There's a frame inside here. We glue everything, mopping around. Once the piece is in place, we execute the screwage. Voila. Voila. And here, he's got a Ryobi. That'll take him most of the day. That'll take him a while. That's a Union Ryobi right there. Oh, we got the roof prep. And if you look over there, see how that's lifting up pretty high? So what we did, I come back here and I'm gonna screw them all down. But I didn't want the heads sticking up. So then I went back and I countersunk everything. They're all countersunk. So this way it sits nice and flush. I got another plate coming over this. And that plate I put on there, I'm gonna weld the roofing to it. So it'll stop out here. That's what that line is. It'll stop there or right in here somewhere. And then that'll be it. It won't roll over. Some of the other ones will burn them over. There's a real hard shell, and also he's going to be putting some vinyl wrap on here. So it's going to be easier for him to just bond it to this and he will the roofing. They don't have to mess with the roofing or anything. Sometimes you have to prepare the roofing for things to stick to, so that'll just be one issue they don't have to deal with. And also we don't put a rail. In a lot of Class A's you'll see they have a rail here. This one included, it had a rail there. Well, now with that rail being about 5/8 of an inch high, we'll say, that water has to get at least 5/8 of an inch high to roll off. So it's always trapping water. So when we do the system that I'm saying, we're gonna have that flat piece of metal on there, that water will just roll right off. So it'll be all welded, so it's not an issue. We've done them on, there's a sport coach that we did. We did a massive Freightliner. That one we did a few years ago. So, you know, it's a great way to get rid of that rail. So now, this is a special piece of jazzy metal. Very expensive. We're gonna weld our roof to this. So we've got all this all secured down. We put all the screws on like I showed you. But when they built this coach, what they did is this is on top of that. And it's all, you know, epoxy back together. The whole thing is different elevation right underneath there. So now when we put this down, what's gonna stink is we're gonna have a little burp there. We're gonna try and get it out the best we can, but there's probably gonna be a little burp there. Just short of having to cut all that and then re-epoxy it all back together. Boy, that's some craziness there. So, and that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna have to, you know, it's gonna stay. There's nothing you can do about it. Not like you said, unless you just tear it all apart. But that's a lot of work just for a little burp. So we have got this side, driver's side, it's already glued. You can see we got all the glue on there. You can see how it's still kind of yellowish, and this is kind of mustard looking, I guess. This one's already flashed off, what it's called. It's ready to go. This one isn't. We're going to wait for that. And then what you see here, you can see we got all our protective strips in there. We got all those. And that's where all the plywood meets. We do all those on the joints. Sometimes these trusses, you know, they kind of get a little wonky, like I showed you. We jacked it up to try to get some of the curse out. We couldn't get it all. But sometimes where the seams are, I want this to lay real nice so you can't see the seams. And it just adds a little bit more strength, I guess, possibly. But it's not really a structural thing. But I like the look of it much better. This, we got all this taped off because when we roll this piece over, we're going to weld right here 5 inches all the way down, all the way around, all the way on the top and on the side over here. We're going to weld all that. So on a lot of coaches, they'll have the pylon up on the roof and they'll have a metal piece on there, basically at the termination bar. So what that does is where the sheet comes, they just put some butyl under it, then they put that down, they screw it down, and they caulk both sides. But it's like, I think I said this before, it's about a ½ inch, so maybe 5/8 of an inch high. So now the water's got to kind of build up. So even though this has some camber, it would still leave kind of like a puddle under there. And I like everything to get off the roof as much as possible. So this is going to help that. We won't have that piece on there. It's going to be all heat welded, and then all of this gets all sealed. So we'll be good to go. So that's where we're at right now. So it's just going to take a little bit longer for us to get that to flash off on the sheet, and then we'll roll it over and we'll start putting in. We only got a couple of curbs and maybe a couple of plumbing, so that should go. And then we still got an awning to do, and then we did some patching up here where we put the had to take apart the shoulder. We had already patched some of it. We still got a little bit more to go, so we did all that. And then there's another piece down inside there where these are all riveted together, so they're all working together. Then we got an epoxy in there. Same over there. So we're just going to put a decal on that. Like I said, he's going to have this whole thing wrapped.
but I definitely want to put something on this so the sun's UV light doesn't try to break all that down, right? So until he gets a chance to get it wrapped. So we're going to put black on there, but I don't know if it'll be a perfect match. So we got the same going on right here. Sanded it smooth, and like I said, right there as well. But he's still going to have to do some work to try to get this smooth, because it's not smooth. I mean, you can see a lot of these little cracks in here that somebody's going to have to sand it down. And then this was from the old caulking. So our plan was not really to go over the whole entire thing, meaning like with a decal or anything. It's really not our plan, but we're going to see just how bad it looks. You know, I like to try to make them look as clean as I can to show that, like, this is, you go, hey, nice roof, look at that mess, you know, and I try to do that, but we'll see what we can do with it. I don't know. I'll try something. There's quite a bit of it, and I don't even know if I've got that much vinyl to do it all, but our caulking's going to come out a little bit, and it may cover a little bit of the chunk of it, you know, maybe out to here, I guess. So you may have this little scabby showing, and then a couple more down there on the white that's down there you can see over here. So what we did with all those big clumps I showed earlier, we sanded it all down. We had to get it off of there, or this piece wouldn't have sat right. It would have been all lumpy, and so we had to sand it down. There's no way around it. So and that's solar, so I'm probably just going to put a hub right there or something. And then other than that, he didn't want anything else on the roof. He said, nope, just nothing. Just, well, I'm sure we're going to put the air horns back on, and but the air conditioners, this has a base unit, so it doesn't have it. So the two curbs we got to put in and heat weld, those are just going to be vents. So other than that, it's ready to go. And then we measured out and put all these screws in. So this is, I showed that earlier, this is glued and screwed down. So it's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. This thing's going to be tight and strong. So, all right, well, let us wait for that to flash off, and we'll show you more as we keep going. So we've got everything back together. We did all our patching, and it come out pretty good. Get a little dust down there we got to wipe off. Got the door back on, got the rail back on, got all this stuff all completed. So I wanted to, we had to pull the scaffold apart, obviously, to get the rest of this trim on. So I wanted to do a quick video on it to show you how it pretty much come out. So, but it looks pretty good. And like I said, he's still going to have to wrap this, like he was saying. So the rest of it, like you can see, like right there, that's going to need some work. Hopefully you can see it around. I don't know if the lights get in the way, but you can kind of see that it's all kind of cracked and everything around the window and so forth. So he's going to have to do some work to try to get that, even like some of these cracks that are in here. So he's still got a little bit of work to do to get the vinyl on there to have it look right. But other than that, we've got everything together, and then once I get all this together, I'll give you a walk down on the roof. Okay, so now we've got pretty much the roof all squared away. I'll go over that after a while. But what I'm doing now, we got this insert trim going in, and you can see every one of our screws are all sealed. That's kind of important. You want all those sealed. I'll have to just take a knife and cut that because it's in the way of the track, but this has a groove in it, and it goes up inside this and goes inside that, and then it goes on the outside as well. That's what it does. It snaps in, so it's up underneath and then on top. Locks all the water out. Now, I don't sell any of this, but this I have to buy this literally by the pallet load, so we don't sell anything at all. But they do make other products, like AP makes a similar product. It's not like this. I like this one because it has that nice bulb. So the principle of water adhesion, when water comes down, it's going to kind of stick to it. That's what's called principle of water adhesion. It'll come down, and then it'll roll in here and then into the gutter. So obviously, if it's a real heavy storm, it's going to probably splash over. But you know, your typical rain is just going to wash it right in. It keeps everything onto that track. That's why I like this. So, and that's what we're doing now, getting this, and then I'll go over the whole roof. We welded all this. That's what this is. It's all welded. We put those plates down, but it's welded all the way back there. So, and then it's been all double sealed and everything else. So, but like I said, the roof is still dirty. We haven't cleaned it up. So we're getting ready to do all that. We just come down to the finale. All right, we are done with our Spartan. Back to Canada she goes. I want to thank the customer for bringing it in. We really appreciate it. We know it was a long travel for them to come down, and we just take our time and do things right. We'd like to get it done as quick as we can, but there's a lot of little detail and a lot of stuff we really need to get done to make sure it's a long-lasting quality job. So all those plates that I showed you, we heat welded them. You can see. So we got them screwed all down. It's glued all down, screwed all down, and then this is heat welded to this plate, this metal plate. And then we got 2 strikes of caulking. So they had it built up pretty daggone good, and they had that strip on there in the beginning, and that's what really kind of propagated some of this stuff, some of this damage. But and then this is just solar. That's all that is. That right there is just solar. He had it was out here, so we patched all that and pulled it to make sure it was going to stay watertight. But in the event that he wants to put solar, or somebody does, then at least, you know, bring it back to us and we'll make all the mounts and we'll put it up. You just can't screw it to the roof. That is not the way you do it. So on here, I mean, there's nothing really much more to say. I mean, we've got the 60 mil commercial grade roof. We've got the curbs already here for the vents. You can see that. And everything's all heat welded. This is all heat welded. Everything's all heat welded together. All of this is all heat welded. So the purpose of this is the way a flat roof functions. So if you go online, you can search commercial flat roof images. You're going to see the vents, skylights, air conditioners. You're going to see all of these things elevated up off the roof line. So you're going to see them all elevated up off the roof line. And it looks like my battery's going dead, so let me change my battery. So, what I was saying, if you go online, you can search commercial flat roof images, and you'll see skylights, you'll see air conditioners, exhaust fans, blowers, that type of stuff. You'll see them all up on a curb, and that's what these are. Those curbs, they have flashing, and they have counter flashing. So this gets married or bonded, this is heat welded, but that's the whole principle, is it gets sealed back to the main roof. And this minimizes an erosion effect. You don't want water constantly going over this seal here like that. There's a difference between running water this way and coming down water that way. So you get a lot more erosion effect on there. This is your counter flash. So now when the water comes across, especially in a heavy rain, if it starts trying to come up, then it's going to get redirected. And this type of a curb that I designed, I deliberately put some sort of angle on it. It's called a cant style. And that cant style, it prevents anything from kind of ponding on it. You know, you want the water to get away. You don't want it to just sit there, like especially on that side. You want to slope it so it just gets moved out. But that's the whole purpose of it. So all of this is all heat welded, and that's how a flat roof functions. So all these RV manufacturers that say, hey, just cut a hole in it and, you know, put the butyl on the bottom and, you know, you're done. Run the 28 screws, slobber it with self-leveling and all that. That's not the way you do a roof system. That's wrong, and they know that because I'm sure on their facility, I'll bet their facility, their factory, I really doubt that they're sending a roofing company up there every 3 to 4 months to seal that roof. I doubt it. Like, it's not going to happen. It'd be cost prohibitive. They're not doing that. So they know that's how it is, because if they had to pay for it themselves out of pocket every few months, trust me, they'd want to get that thing fixed and say, that's ridiculous. Let's get that fixed the right way. Get a better roof on there. So it's not the way a flat roof is done. It's not the way it's done on a commercial level, and even on a residential level, like if you had like a porch or a low slope roof, maybe an addition you put on or somebody put on that had, I don't know, maybe even a chimney coming out of it. I don't know, maybe it's a 4-season room. This is protocol, is what I'm getting at. It's protocol. That's the norm. That's the way it's done. But since they don't fall into these guidelines or codes or anything, they can do whatever they want. It doesn't matter. So these are your plumbing. So these are all heat welded as well, and they're all sealed. There's no, if this cap comes off, it won't leak. It'll just go down into the holding tank. That's all that will do. Then we did the same for the air horns up here. So we did the same, put them in a boot, and then it was a radio here. He didn't want anything on this roof. He said clear it off. He didn't want nothing. He didn't want anything on there. So there's a radio antenna down in here, from what we can see. And then there's satellite wires right over there, and all I do is just make up that little emblem, I guess you want to call it, lettering, just put sat, so it's a satellite down the road. Somebody buys this, and they change their mind, and they say, hey, you know, we want to put something on here, then I can make a curb, or I can put solar on, whatever they want to do, but at least we know we're locating stuff, right? So that's about the gist of it on here. So this system, again, is well, the caulking, let me go over this because I didn't tell you about it. So this is all sealed in here, and then we put 2 strikes on it. So you got the first one that injects, really seals it up really good, then we do another lap. The reason why I do 2 laps is because if you've ever operated a caulking gun, you'll hear it maybe pop or crackle. And that means you just injected air bubble. And it doesn't matter the brand. It could be the most expensive caulk. It could be the cheapest brand. But when they get dispensed down into the cartridge and the product goes down in there, there is inevitably, there is air. So you just injected air pocket in there. I don't want that air pocket to breach, and now I've got a potential leak. So my thought is, what are the chances of putting, when I put a second layer, the chances of one air bubble landing on top of another? Probably slim to none. So that's why I do it that way. But the roof system, like I said, this is a 60 mil. On a commercial level, they start off at 45. So not only do we upgrade you to a commercial roof, we upgrade even one more into a 60 mil, and that's what this is. It's a 60 mil. So you can see we got the tan, the white, and the gray. Obviously the white right here. And then there's all our information. If you want to reach out to us, you know, if you're interested in getting your roof done, you can just give us a call, or again, you can go to the website if you want. There's a lot of contact info there, but it's just contact us at RV Roof Install. Real simple. And then this again is a structured membrane. Let's see if I can show you the way, if the light can hit it just right. You may see some of these little, looks like a little screen built into it. That is the mesh that they put in there to help resist against hail, tree branches, things like that. So that's what's known as a structured membrane. So the, let's see, what did I miss? Okay, the warranty, it's real simple. Ideally, we would, I know the guys from Canada, I know that. We're gonna show him how to do an inspection. We're gonna show him what to look for. And you know, when you're doing an inspection on these, you really wanna put some friction on here, and you wanna listen for it and feel it to make sure it's sealed. That's one of the ways you do an inspection on it. Also, on, and we leave the customer with a care package. We leave them with a care package with some roof tape, with some caulking and stuff like that, so if they see something, then at least they can get it done. But the other way you check it is you would have, it could be a little trowel, a butter knife. I just have this as an inspection tool, and you just drag it along there. And if this thing kind of slides in, then you know you possibly could have a leak. It would be even still hard for this to ever leak. I weld these totally different than a commercial contractor does, so it doesn't leak. I haven't had one yet, put it that way, the way it does. So, but if it lifted up a little bit, what you could do, if it did, you could, we leave them with product where they could do a little patch, and then when they come in for an inspection, we can clean it out and re-weld it. So it's not a big deal. But again, if they think it is, but I'm not saying ignore it. That's why I want to see it come back. I want to see it come back. I'd like to check things out. I don't take it for granted. We do the best we can, but hey, we're human, and I didn't make the product either. So I didn't make the product, I didn't make the caulking, I still want to see it. Ideally, I like to see it come back in 60 days, but an annual inspection is how we generally run the warranty. Pardon me. We run the warranty on an annual inspection. So this being 24, the warranty will go from 24 to 25. He'll come in on 25, we'll give him a warranty from 25 to 26. 26 to 27. So that's how it works, because you want to see it. We don't want something minor that could be fixed to turn into a hot mess, and then somebody say, hey, look at what I got here, you know, and you go, well, we haven't even taken a look at it. We're willing to stand behind it, we just need to take a look at it. And anybody who's telling you, oh, you don't have to worry about it, you're good to go, that's just naive. You should be getting an inspection on your coach every year, roof included, but like your ball joints, the front end, brakes, frame, suspension, that's just common sense. You should be doing that. And this is part of it. On a commercial level, when you install one of these commercial roofs, you would go back 30 to 60 days. You want to check it out, make sure everything's okay, make sure everything's seated well. That's what you do, because it's new, it's fresh, so you want to make sure it's acclimated properly to the roof that you just installed it on. So then you come back every year after that. It's real simple. You just come back every year, you know, when you, on a commercial level, and I'm just doing the same thing. So the maintenance, dish soap, he can run this through a truck wash, tell somebody to come up here and pressure wash it, no problem at all. But you can just use some simple dish soap, low scrub brush, or if you want to pressure wash it, or whoever, get up here and you can pressure wash this thing. So maintenance wise, it's pretty simple to take care of. So and that's about all you have to do. All the inspections, everything else will be for you. So you know, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, you know, give it a like, I guess. From what I understand, I'm not really a YouTube guy, so I don't mind if you skip the commercials or anything. I'm not trying to put these together for the money. I don't have any sponsors. I don't have a fancy intro. I'm giving this to basically, these are designed for the customer so they can see all the work we did, and also for other folks that are looking for it. But I'm not out trying to be a YouTuber and building content and all that other stuff. That's not my business. So that's why I say I'm not worried about everybody skipping by the ads. I do the best I can to try to prevent the ads. So if they're on there, it's really not from me anyways, it's from YouTube. They're the ones doing it, and I try to get around it by sometimes you'll hear maybe some music or something. But anyhow, these aren't DIYs, so if you got a tip, awesome. Also, we don't quote on social media. We do have a Facebook page. You can go there too. It's just RV Roof Install page. You can go there, like that page, and we got an RV Roof Install group as well. So other than that, like I said, we don't quote on social media, so reach out to us and either email or call us, and we'll be glad to help you with your project. And other than that, like I said, we appreciate you all watching, and again we thank the customer for coming all the way down like you did. And you can see we did a lot of work on here. We fixed all the sides. I don't know if I think on the other side I showed already, but we had to do it right here as well, because this is where we had to cut the siding, so we had to epoxy all this back and bring it back together. The other thing we did was we replaced this insert trim, and this one goes in and we also seal the top. So we want to make sure all that was good. And then let's see if I got that insert trim somewhere. I probably could show you at the end over here. But what it does, there's a groove in it, and there's a track right there, and it goes inside and outside, and it locks it in. So now I feel confident that the water's going to stay out. And you're going to say, well, that doesn't make sense, Joe, because you didn't caulk this here. The water's going to get in there. Well, so what happens is you get condensation built up in a lot of products, and you could still get some condensation that'll build up in the inside from it's cold out and then it warms up, and you still have it on the inside. So I want anything that's in there to get out. And also when you're traveling, you're probably pushing some air in there a little bit, but that's why I don't. You can't trap water. I've learned that over the years. You cannot trap water. You can't say, hey, you can try to give it another direction to go, but if you think you're just going to absolutely stifle it out and it's not going to get in, Mother Nature will prove you wrong. So you want to give it another route, So, but anyhow, that's how that insert works. So, like I said, we appreciate you watching. We see you on the next one. Let's take a look at this ceiling that we did on this Spartan. So, you can see this thing come out pretty darn good. We salvaged it pretty good. This thing was just hanging and rotted and everything. So I think it come out pretty decent for sure. So obviously the coach needs some work. There's some wires hanging out over here. We don't know where they go. And I don't know if this is just put in new or not. It kind of looks like it is. It does to me. So I don't know if he's been doing some work on it. But and obviously had the molding missing on the slide right there. But other than that, like I said, it come back looking real well. So that was a lot of work. Well, we appreciate y'all watching.
Package. Right. So in our care package, we have caulking, we got primer, we have got 2 patches. Those are heat patches. We got a patch peel and stick patch. We got a checker tool. We've got a magnet. And the rest of this is just pens, keychains, brush, nozzle. Okay, so if we have a hole in the roof, and we'll simulate a hole. We're going to do hole simulations. We say we got a hole there. Here's your tree branch come through, and you're like, oh man, I got a hole in my roof, it's leaking. So what you want to do, and it's raining out. Right now it's raining, you're like, crap, I got to stop that leak. You want to get in there, and if you can't get that nozzle in there, don't worry about it. Make it a little bigger. What you're trying to do, you need to get up underneath the roofing, like this. This is what we need to do, get up underneath the roofing. Then you're going to take and you're going to put this up inside there, and you're going to squeeze, 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 squeeze. Hopefully this thing is plugged up. There it goes. Just squeeze, squeeze. You're going to try and get up underneath this part too.
Squeeze up underneath there. Put some more underneath there. Well, we are getting this thing all boogered up. Then what we're gonna do, you're gonna push it together. See how it oozes out? That's sealed. You're done. This is a moisture cured product. So what? It's a hot mess. Looks terrible. Who cares? Keep the water out. So now, the next day, we're gonna go up there, and that's gonna be cured looking like that. So we're gonna take a knife, and you just shave it down. Just shave it down with a knife. I'm just gonna obviously wipe this off. Now you say, hey, I want something a little better than that. So what we're gonna do is get some cleaner. This is a terrible rag. You got another one. You got one on you? Oh, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag. Hey, what are you doing? What are you gonna talk about, man? Nope, just leave it alone. Oh, leave it alone right now. We're recording now? Are we on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Alright, so now we cleaned it off with a knife. I just washed that off because it's still wet. Take that off. So now we got a patch. This is a peel and stick patch. We're going to take that, we're going to center it over there. Just take a pen and go around like this. I like to kind of put a dash like that so I know who's where, what, and where, and how. So now there's what I got. So in the package we got primer. We also have a brush. You're going to take that, you're going to go all inside the square. You're also going to go outside this square about 3/8 of an inch. Outside about 3/8 of an inch or so. Once you get that, there's a film on the back. You peel the film, now you know which side you are, see, that's because there's your marks. And you peel that film back. Get the fat fingers in there to get the film off of this thing. This is just a regular roof tape. That's all it is. We put them in all the care packages. Get that daggone thing off of there. Probably use some fingernails. Probably help. Come on. There it is. Okay. There it is. Now you got the film. You take that film. So now we're going to line it back up with this. We already got the primer under there. You just peel the film back, and as you do, you just rub it down like this. Sometimes that film will get a little stuck in there. This is just a butyl. You just kind of try to keep it as even as you can and flat as you can. Boom, you're done. There it is. So now, out here, this is where your primer is. You put the primer on there. You got primer there, and now you're going to put primer here. You want to prime all this area with your brush. Prime all that. Then you're going to come back. Once you get it all primed, then you're going to put a little bit of caulking on it, just like this. That's simple. It doesn't all sit in there. You can always take your finger and go around it if you want. We're trying to obviously stop a leak and make one of. There's going to be a little more permanent of a patch than just that plug that we did when it was raining. So now that we get that all done, the whole purpose of it is this part here. This part underneath here, that's a butyl. When the sun hits that, if you didn't have the caulking on there, it will cause it to release and curl up just like I'm doing here. And it'll start coming loose. That's why you need the primer. That's why when you prime it, you're going to prime on top of this because nothing will stick to it. Nothing, the caulking will not stick to this patch and it won't stick to the roof unless you use the primer. That's how you do a patch. Ta-da! All done.